Hey everybody, welcome back to Foreign Post. I'm Steve Susan. So today we're talking about Rotary International. Rotary is a group that is worldwide. They've got millions of members and they deal with a lot of community issues. Everything from clean water to helping parents to eradicating polio around the world. And it's amazing how many clubs and chapters there are in Europe and in Asia and South America, let alone Canada and the United States. But when Rotary opened a new club in Kabul, Afghanistan, well, we took notice of that. And recently we sat down with Luke Beer, the co-founder of the Rotary International Club in Kabul and a past president. And here's our conversation. Well, Luke, thanks for being here on the show with us. It's a real pleasure to have you here and to talk about Rotarians. Now, when I look at Rotary Club, and I'm not a Rotarian myself, but when I looked at the Rotary clubs around the world, I mean, there are thousands. And I mean, literally a million members all over the world. But to have one in Afghanistan, now that one really kind of brought my eyes up of like, wow, even in Afghanistan. But you started this one back in
2013,
13, right?
2013.
2013.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. Tell me about doing that.
Well, I should first say just my own personal backstory and how I came to know Rotary just quickly. My grandfather was a lifelong Rotarian, and when I was 17, he encouraged me to apply for the Rotary International program. And after that, I was selected to spend 1 year as an exchange student in Nasik, India.
Huh?
So it truly opened the world for me because prior to that, I was, a localized Ontario farm boy, and growing up in that year in India, seeing what I saw, it just totally changed the trajectory of my career path and what I would be interested in. So then when I got to Afghanistan, I'd heard that there was a group of young Afghan American, Afghan Europeans that had brought back the idea of Rotary when they'd returned to work in Afghanistan as young professionals. And they had started a semblance of a club and were looking for more members. So I immediately felt compelled to get involved. I knew the power of Rotary and what it can do for a community and what it can do for personal development. And when I got there was just a few members. It was a bit of a rump parliament, we could say. And within a couple of months, we got some good traction. Within 6-7 months, we had the 20 members that were committed and interested to apply for membership. We were sponsored by a Rotary Club in Pakistan to be chartered, and that was May of 2013.
So when you started this club, I mean, the idea of Rotary and the giving and the sharing and these are brand new concepts in a lot of ways. I mean, the charter system is kind of a brand new way for a lot of the Afghans. How did they kind of adjust to that?
Yeah, certainly whenever we tried to explain it to the average Afghan on the street, people who are charitable in their own life, very much focused on family and centered on supporting their enlarged families, often overwhelmed with the requirements to do such a thing like that. They would just kind of dismiss it as, well, that's a nice thing, but I don't have time for that, or I can't be involved. They didn't necessarily immediately see the benefits of engaging in a civil society organization like Rotary Club and what kind of a network that would give to you, what kind of personal benefits and growth that it could provide, and also just the general good feeling. Similarly, we ran into some institutional challenges when we tried to get a bank account, for example, so that we could put our funds and our dues and we could accept money from abroad to work on our projects. We ran into the ministries and they said, we understand you want to open a bank account and you want a license to be a non-governmental organization, but who are you and why are you associated with these Rotary International? We see, they do a quick Google search and they can find out some things. So that was a challenge. We had to get to the right people that we could grab their ear and really explain it to them. But then we've seen incredible growth since, including just recently my Rotary colleagues in the Kabul City Club met with First Lady Ruhollah Ghani, which is really, really exciting. So we went from begging essentially for government recognition so that we could just open a bank account to meeting with the First Lady, which is really, really impressive.
Now
and
that's
exciting.
exciting.
It
So
is.
for a lot of people, they don't really understand what Rotary is.
Yeah.
There's certain principles and there's certain activities, clean water projects, and a lot of different things that the Rotarians do. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, Rotary has core areas of focus: maternal health, fresh water, as you mentioned, education, and polio, of course. All these issues focus on Afghanistan, but at the same time, polio for us became a big focus, and we also took education as a primary focus because we didn't want to do anything that might be confrontational and be construed to be unacceptable in the society. We didn't want to get any bad press ever. And so what we found was, who doesn't want to help and support children's growth, working on education, and also continually reminding Afghans about polio and Rotary's connectivity to polio and their 30 years of focus there. Because polio is something that's, evident on every Afghan downtown street in many ways. With the
Well, and you're seeing a lot of when back, I'd say 2-3 years ago, we would get reports from the Pakistan Afghanistan border of new cases being reported. They were limited. You get 1 or 2, maybe a month, or even go stretches that you wouldn't get one. But just the idea that there's new cases and this sort of thing. When polio was nearly wiped out, I mean, after FDR and the vaccine and moving that forward. But that's a big part of the Afghan Rotarian Club, is it not?
Absolutely. And I was just at the Rotary International Convention this past year in Toronto, and they're just incredibly powerful. 25,000 Rotarians from all around the world, down in downtown Toronto meeting, talking about all their different projects. It's just a massive convention center. And the Rotary Club and the international presidency was continually driving home the message that we're this close to eradicating polio. And it's very difficult for people perhaps in Western Europe or in North America to have that memory of what polio is and how dire a disease it is. And for myself, my message continually was, I see this on a regular basis. Afghan and Pakistan Rotary clubs are on the front lines of this fight. And it does matter, because if even just one child has that disease, then none of our children are safe.
Well, that's exactly right. And when you look at these kind of clubs, and especially when you were in Toronto, now you got to talk to the members, right? And,
absolutely, yeah. And of course, as you say, everyone's interested to know Rotary Club in Afghanistan. And I have to explain to them that there was a brief history of Rotary back in the late 60s and 70s, but then through the revolutionary changes in Afghanistan, civil society organizations that weren't associated with the government were then banned. And then the ensuing civil war and Taliban period was a dark time for civil society, of course. Our club started in 2013. There is another club in Jalalabad, in the eastern city down near the Pakistani border. It's quite productive group. And then we also have an emerging club in Herat, which is along the Iranian border.
Right.
So I wanted to draw the attention of international Rotarians that we do have clubs there. And that's the amazing power of Rotary as well, is the mentorship that you gain.
Right.
We had continual interest from Rotary clubs in Germany and England and United States and Canada, wanting to work with us. And there's often interest about how can we get involved? How can we cooperate with your club? And administratively, we have our limitations. But it's just great as well to tell that good news story that Rotary is expanding in some of the most challenging environments. I mean, many Rotarians, when they hear the name Afghanistan, they think, the wrong things. They don't think.
And it's not just men. I mean, you've got women members there.
Absolutely.
And that's a huge step in Afghanistan as well.
That's right. Rotary membership is predominantly male, at least in North America and in Europe. But what we're seeing in the developing world and in the emerging Rotary clubs is incredibly strong female membership, often over 50%. I'm happy to say that this year we'll actually have a female president of the Rotary Club of Cobble City, which is really exciting.
That's amazing. That's a big step.
Yeah, and she's an incredible young woman, and what that will do for her confidence is exciting for us because we know that we'll have this just titan of leadership, moving forward after her year.
And it fits in with the new slogan of "Be the Inspiration," right?
Absolutely.
That's the one that really I think you could latch onto. Of a woman in Afghanistan who's running that Rotary Club. That's amazing.
For certain. I remember I was doing an interview with the Rotary Club in the United Kingdom, and they asked me immediately about the membership and male-female ratio. And I said, oh, we're almost about 50-50. And they laughed and said, my goodness, like we're 15% females. That really hinders the club's growth, for sure. So.
Yeah.
And I just said, well, I don't think I'd want to be a part of your club then, fellas. So.
Well, Luke, thanks for joining us. And I'll be following this, and you and I, we've been close friends for a long time, and you can keep me up to date on what's happening with that, and certainly any of the activities that Rotarians are doing in developing countries, and we're certainly interested in that. But we really appreciate you being on Foreign Post.
Absolutely. Well, I'm still active here with the Rotary Club of DuPont Circle. That's the other amazing thing about Rotary is, as a Rotarian, I can visit any Rotary Club when I'm traveling around. So I always have a home to go to and a social network to get involved in. So yeah, I expect to be around here more often.
That's awesome. Well, thanks again for being on Foreign Post. For more information about Rotary and Rotary International, check out Rotary.org. And for information in general on international development and humanitarian assistance, check out ForeignPost.com every day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. This has been a presentation of Foreign Post Media Incorporated in cooperation with Co-Create Studios, Arlington, Virginia. For more information on Co-Create Studios, please visit their website at cocreatestudios.com. The Foreign Post podcast is sponsored by Power-Based Associates. For all of your research, public affairs, and communication needs, visit powerbaseassociates.com for more information.